From a classic role-playing board game that people love to now being adapted for the big screen, the build-up for Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves is leaving fans amazed with its comedy and humor. The acclaimed board game was recently brought back to light by the popular series Stranger Things. It's been the talk of the town ever since the movie starring Chris Pine was announced, and now a trailer has finally shown the essence of the film. Releasing towards the end of March 2023, the film is turning out to be something very different from what fans expected initially. It's fun, quirky, and lighthearted in a pretty absurd but also really fun way. The minute the trailer came out, fans took to Twitter to talk about their hilarious reactions and responses, and there were a lot of them. John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein directed the movie, using a screenplay written by John, Goldstein, and Michael Giglio. After the trailer was released, though, it became pretty clear that the film isn't going to be what people originally expected. For fans that are a little more open to the idea of it being comical, the trailer was absolutely hilarious. Many Dungeons & Dragons enthusiasts have been praising the film trailer for its brilliant script and amazing timing, so the general consensus so far is that the movie is coming along nicely. It's good to see that people aren't disappointed. Fans in their tweets talked about how they think the film will really sit well with its target audience, and the fans are hoping for even more. Other netizens spoke up about how they've watched the trailer multiple times by now, and that March is going to be a great month for movies.
And it becomes a frenzy of insanity. It's a murder mystery party gone awry, and as the night goes on, they realize that it might not actually be.
While others are simply just watching it because Michelle Rodriguez is in it, which is also understandable. The movie, directed by Goldstein and Francis, is going to be an action-adventure film based on the original tabletop board game, with the story being set in the Forgotten Realms campaign.
And Brandon spent weeks planning this campaign, and your bullshit on night one where you stole that carriage threw all of his plans right out the window.
It's all right, Sarah. It's all right, really. I mean,
Fans of the game will know what I'm talking about. A great choice for the film, I'd say. This movie won't be part of the trilogy that was put out earlier, though, with Warner Brothers Pictures getting the rights to it first. Talks for this standalone film have been dated all the way back to 2013. That's a whole decade ago now. Man, I feel old. Though after a constant back and forth between production houses, a deal was finally landed by Paramount Pictures. Ever since then, the movie was put into production. The film will be centered on a charming thief along with his unlikely group of adventurers, as they set off on an epic journey to acquire a relic that's been lost for a long time, though things get a little dangerous when they run into the wrong people. Director John Francis Daley spoke about the unique nature of the film. In a talk with Collider, Daley talked about how people absolutely love dinosaurs and dragons, and he's right. We do love dinosaurs and dragons very much, though Daley isn't just banking on that for the movie's success. He mentioned how he wanted to make something a little more unique.
It doesn't accidentally kill anybody, but you never know with this show. It can explore really dark elements. So I'm just hoping that he remains trustworthy.
The famous director added that since the movie is based on Dungeons & Dragons, they have the liberty to mess around a little and be creative. Since the acclaimed board game is already about trying to find a unique aesthetic, he's excited about the movie, and so am I. In another talk with IGN, Daley spoke about how this film is a great opportunity for them to capture the essence of a role-playing game, while at the same time keeping in mind people who haven't played the game or don't know about its mechanics. The director seemed to want to make a movie that appeals to die-hard fans of the game and also people who don't know anything about it. I love that the movie is being made more accessible to a wider audience rather than just being a niche movie with obscure references that not everyone understands. Director Goldstein talked about how this movie will change expectations for this genre. He says it'll surprise viewers who walked into the theater with a preconceived idea of what fantasy adventure movies should look like. That being said, though, the film will of course include classic parts of the game, like mystical creatures, epic battles, and magical spells. The film will also include a number of surprising twists and turns that will leave viewers surprised. Though when it comes to adaptations of the game for the small and big screens, the track record has been a little mixed, with films receiving low box office returns as well as lukewarm responses from fans. But now, a new era seems to be dawning for Dungeons & Dragons on the big screen.
The things that are the same fundamentally, he shoots webs, he's very athletic and strong, But beyond that, we really wanted to dig into the fact that he is a high school student, a true high school student, and he doesn't become a man by the second act.
E1, a Canadian entertainment company that was acquired in 2019 by toy giant Hasbro, has been working hard to develop a number of projects based on the franchise.
The advantage of being having a writing partner is that, like, if one of us doesn't think it's funny, we know to nip it in the bud before it's sending out to other people.
We're always pretty much in the same room when we're writing so that we do the dialogue.
It definitely looks like all the hard work is finally about to pay off for them. Along with acting giants like Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Hugh Grant, and more, Paramount is also working on the development of a brand new 8-episode-long TV series that's based on the franchise. It'll air on Paramount Plus, the company's streaming service. It's also been labeled as E1's biggest project ever. The director of Red Notice, Marshall Thunder, is set to write the pilot script. He's also going to be directing the very first episode of this new series. With a very experienced team, along with a high budget,
those are very, very special shots. In fact, those shots that you're talking about had never been done before in the history of cinema, because the technology that we used to achieve those shots were invented.
The series has a lot of potential to bring the complex and rich D&D world to the screen. It's really good to see more projects being worked along with the movies, which overall has garnered really good reactions, though not everyone is the happiest about the new D&D movie. Some fans are losing faith in the new film. Ever since the release of the new trailer, some people fear that they might not end up enjoying the movie. People have talked about how much potential it had after they revealed the lineup for the cast, but some hardcore fans aren't happy with the direction this new movie is taking. A major criticism by netizens is that the film seems to be using the same quirky, fourth-wall breaking and self-referential formula, something that many other films have done by now. The audio and action in the trailer pause on multiple occasions for a witty one-liner joke. I can understand the criticism, but 2.5 minutes isn't really an appropriate amount of time to be able to judge the movie right away.
No, that wasn't for you. Did that count as a question? Yes. Damn it. Only answer when I talk to you, okay? Yes. Why did you say okay at the end of that? I didn't.
Though critics say that viewers who haven't played D&D before and aren't familiar with many iconic creatures won't really understand, while at the same time hardcore fans will end up deprived of their favorite aspects of the game if it isn't incorporated into the movie. Some fans fear that the movie will be less about Dungeons & Dragons and more about just being witty and funny for the sake of being, well, witty and funny. Some hardcore D&D fans have actually labeled the new movie as cringe. They say their favorite game is being ruined by companies that are only looking to make profits off of it. Some even think that the new movie is trying too hard to look cool and say that they don't need to cast aside D&D's lore to appeal to a larger audience. So as you can see, most responses to the movie have been great, while a few are still unsure of what's to come. Regardless though, this has been how fans reacted to Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.